My brother strung his girlfriend along for 12 years while making her pay half his mortgage and cheating on her. Then she got him to sign documents giving her 45% of his house by convincing him they were scamming a company together. Posted by u/Glittering Disc 5929. I, 37F, have an older brother, George, 45M, who isn't an idiot, but he can be lazy. Definitely the type to rely on weaponized incompetence whenever women and girls are around. Example, he acted like he didn't know where our mom kept the paper plates in the house he lived in for nearly 20 years, just so she'd get up, go into the kitchen, and make him his plate during the holidays, just 1 week post her bunion surgery. Side note, they both tried to passive-aggressively make me feel guilty for not offering to fix my adult brother's plates so our mom wouldn't have to do it, like I wasn't the only one doing the most of the cooking and would be doing most of the cleaning afterwards. At age 30, George was given a windfall from our grandfather's estate. I got something too, and used it as a down payment for a nice 5-bedroom house that's easily worth double now. During this time, he met Melinda, 50F, and she was a nice lady. Smart, responsible, hardworking, sweet, and very organized. She came into the relationship with a steady job and was upfront about her lack of ability to have more children after complications from nearly losing her life giving birth to her daughter. George stated that he was okay with that, but whenever Melinda would bring up his hesitation regarding marriage, he'd say that he had complicated feelings about not being able to be a father if he chose to fully commit to her that he needed to process. Saying that since he was willing to look over her fertility issues because he loved her, that she needed to show her love by waiting for him. That line worked for 12 years. After Melinda moved in, George demanded that she pay half the bills and part of his mortgage in exchange for allowing Melinda's daughter to move in with her. At the time, Melinda had little options as her former landlord was raising the rent too high and she was helping pay for her sister's medical bills. Melinda and George justified to everyone by saying what she would have had to pay to George was still cheaper in rent than at her old place. I said nothing because not my relationship. 2 years ago, George was caught cheating and Melinda was furious, then left. I don't know all the details, but she came back seeming to work things out. Didn't stop George from cheating, but Melinda shrugged and said that this was still a better deal and so long as he kept it from the house, she'd cope. Recently, there was some type of damage to George's house and he needed people to come in and fix it, but he hated the labor of searching for a reliable contractor, taking time away from his job and hobbies to deal with them and the paperwork. Melinda offered to do it and he didn't question it. Whatever she gave, he signed, and in front of third-party witnesses. Melinda got George to sign paperwork stating that she was entitled to 45% of his house. Now she's dumped him and is demanding that George either sell his house or buy her out. George is trying to fight this, citing that he didn't fully understand what he was agreeing to, and he's found a lawyer willing to take his case, but his fees are expensive. George and our mom think that I should help, but I'm refusing. I don't see why I have to shell out thousands to save another grown man from his own lack of foresight, especially when there's a good chance he won't even win. I'm being called heartless and a bad sister, so I have to ask, am I the jerk? Relevant comments. Downvoted commenter, you can't give a part of the house without a notary contract, whatever he signed he's an idiot for not reading, he should have left this woman a long time ago. Ops response, I believe the third party who witnessed my brother sign the documents was a licensed notary. Commenter 1, NTA. But who is expecting to have more kids with a 50 years old? For me, it sounds more like he was looking for an excuse to play victim since the beginning of the relationship. By the way, I'm not the youngest woman and I think this question is important. Ops response, she was in her 40s when they got together, but I agree he was just using that as an excuse. Commenter 2, I think it's funny how you say he's not an idiot and then you go on to explain exactly why he is an idiot. Ops response, I truly don't believe that my brother is an idiot. He's just lazy. Like if he actually put in the time and work to actually fact-check, Melinda wouldn't have been able to do what she did. Commenter 3, NTA. George had it coming. Stringing that woman along for years, manipulating her by making her feel guilty over not being able to have more children, having her pay half the mortgage for his house and then cheating on her? He made the bed, let him lay in it. Commenter 4, NTA. Your brother is a cheater and a fool. Was Melinda a bit underhanded? Arguably yes. Does she deserve a share of the house in return for all she paid into it, not to mention 12 years of domestic and emotional labor? Arguably also yes. But when it comes to whether you should shell out for your brother's legal fees, the answer is an unequivocal no. He was a huge jerk and ridiculously careless with his most significant asset, and that's not your responsibility to fix. He's an adult, he needs to fix his own mistake. Commenter 5, NTA. George made bad choices and is responsible for the mess that followed. Further, he is not that intelligent if he is signing something without reading it. Melinda may have acted underhanded, but I'm not mad at her about it because George used her. He strung her along and let her pay rent and mortgage. She is entitled to this share, as she sacrificed years for him. She could have found someone better. She now can, but still the years she wasted on him will never come back. Anyway, George reaped what he had sowed. It's deserved, and I wouldn't want to pay for his mistake either. Update, 2 weeks later. Okay, there's been an update, and I have to say while I still don't think my brother is an idiot overall, he is a lazy and very arrogant dumbass. I also wanted to clarify a few things as well. Melinda and my brother were in a relationship for 12 years, but they only started living together for about 9 to 10 years. Also, the documents were signed in the presence of a notary who asked my brother if he understood the context of the documents, and he affirmed that he did. And to the person who said that my brother was house poor, you hit the nail on the hammer. My brother spent the majority of his inheritance and savings on buying that house, and it barely had any furniture in it. When Melinda moved in, she paid to have it furnished on top of splitting the utilities and paying rent. Now on to the new stuff. When my brother's house needed fixing, he let Melinda do the grunt work of finding reputable establishments to consider because he didn't want to be bothered. Melinda presented him with up to 3 options and convinced him to go with Company A, not the real name, because they were offering seasonal discounts for first-time customers and/or new owners for specific items. Melinda's plan to get both discounts was to present it as if she recently became the partial owner and had my brother email Company A to see if they'd be willing to accept that. Company A responded that if Melinda recently became part owner of the house, then they'd be willing to give a partial discount as a courtesy. Company A was a small business but with an excellent reputation in terms of service, quality of work, and meeting deadlines, so my brother was all in. What my brother didn't realize was that Company A went by the honor system when it came to Melinda and my brother's case, but on their website it did say proper documents needed to be shown, so Melinda told my brother that she'd come up with fake documents that he could sign in the presence of a notary that she knew through a friend who was supposed to be in on the scam. They weren't, but that's what she told my brother. The actual signing was at their home in front of the notary and 2 people from Company A who were initially there to survey the area. So basically, my brother thought that he and Melinda were scamming Company A when in reality Melinda was scamming him. He thought the documents he was signing were fake, but they were real, and that's his defense. This is why he had trouble finding a lawyer. Wouldn't blame anyone here who thought that this was fake because what the frick. So anyway, I'm not going to give him the money, but I will give him a list of realtors. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Are you taking your brother's word for how the legal paper situation came about, or have you talked to his ex? I'll bet their explanations are not even similar. Ops response. Melinda isn't talking to anyone who is associated with my brother right now. She told us that if we insist on talking to her to email her, and if we want to meet her in person, it will be in a neutral setting, and that she will record anything we have to say. Commenter 2. How is your mother taking his side? Ops response. She's a pick-me-boy mom. Commenter 3. So his defense is I thought we were scamming a company but really she was scamming me, Your Honor. Yeah, I think it's best to stay out of this one. Commenter 4. You're right. Your brother is an idiot. You should always take things seriously when they involve your home. Commenter 5. It sounds like she did actually contribute financially to the house. After 10 years, most people are considered to be in a settled relationship, and it's not like she got part ownership then the next day demanded half the sale price. Being a moron isn't considered a defense, and the whole situation is a clusterfuck of he said and she said. I think you are being very sensible to stay out of it and not contribute towards your brother's legal fees. He's going to lose anyway and should take the hit. There is no loophole for him to find to nullify her share of the house, and to be honest, she is probably entitled as she's been living with him for so long. He's an unreliable narrator, and after you remove all the extra crap he's saying, he basically wants her out on the street after 10 years without a penny to her name.